Hi, Rob. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing pretty well. What's going on, Binta?
Nothing much. Where are you tuning in from?
I'm in Ventura, California at the moment.
I'm all the way on the other side. We're miles and miles apart. I'm in Greenville, North Carolina.
Nice. You're in my old zone out there in the
Yeah.
North CAC. You're at ECU. Yeah, right on. I love it.
Mhm. Let's see where everyone else is tuning in from. You have people from Austin, Chicago, Oregon, Charlotte, Florida, Toronto. I've only been to one of those that I've named, but
You need to get out there more as soon as it's possible. Go visit Anthony in Lexington, Mass, and you got a lot of people from all over the place here, so that's good news.
Yeah, if anybody wants to host me, I'll see where I'm going to go. Well, I just first want to thank everyone for tuning in. If you just ran in here, we have some people from Arizona. Thank you for coming. This is really exciting. I hope you guys can learn a lot from Rob and I. So I'm going to start with what we're going to be doing, our agenda so far. We're first going to play a demo video, and this is on how to use Lightroom and Adobe Spark to upgrade your LinkedIn profile picture. It'll be really helpful. And we also have an opportunity for you guys to try it out for yourself. You can submit this challenge onto Discord, and we will choose 3 nominees to have a one-on-one session with Rob. And it'll be great because Rob is awesome and he's a great mentor.
It'll definitely be entertaining.
Yeah. And after that, we're going to have a presentation from Rob, and then we will have a profile review session. We do have some people lined up, and then we will give a chance for people in the comments to submit their profile for us to review as well. Then after that, we'll just have a Q&A section where you guys in the comments can ask us some questions. Hello everyone, this is Binta. I am here to show you how to revamp your LinkedIn profile picture using Lightroom and Spark Post. So the first thing we're going to do is open up Lightroom. Here's my finalized picture. I have already gone through the editing process, and I'm going to teach you guys a couple of tips and tricks that I use to enhance the quality of this photo. Here's the before, and here's the after. As for the light feature, I just brought down my highlights, my shadows, my whites, and my blacks. This just helped balance out the picture. And in color, the only thing I did was adjust the tint just a little bit. I did have green shirt on, so it did bounce off of my skin tone, and I just wanted to keep my skin tone the same skin tone that it is by moving the tint up a little bit. In my effects section, I upped the dehaze. This made the picture a lot less foggy and more clear. In detail, I did bring the noise reduction up quite a bit just to remove some grain and to even everything out. As for the optics, I did use a professional camera when I took this photo of myself, so I just wanted to make sure the ratio was correct. Lastly, in geometry, this is a tip I have specifically for your LinkedIn profile picture. I upped the distortion quite a bit, as you can see, and I did this so when I crop my LinkedIn profile picture, it crops my face and my upper half of my body instead of just cropping the facial portion. Now, I did already save this photo to my files, so let's go into Spark and adjust the background. We're going to click Spark Post right here, and here's our landing page for Spark Post. I'm going to go ahead and click this plus sign and go to Files, which is what I saved my photo under. And here we are. So Spark does have a bunch of different ratios for you to use, but I'm going to keep it the original size, and I'm going to click Done. You do have the option to add text, but for today, I'm going to delete it. We're going to go ahead and click the image, and one thing that Spark does is removes your background for you. So you just click it, and Spark will load, and your background will be removed. Now, it already has a suggested color. You can choose any color that you want, and Spark does provide colors based on the photo. As for today, I'm going to use a different background. So we're going to go back to Edit. I'm going to click my image, and I'm going to click Move Freely. This allows me to just move around and just work on the background for now. We're going to click Replace, And you can replace it with any image, but I do want to show you that Spark does have patterns for you to use. There are tons of different patterns that get updated really regularly, and you can alter it and change it around. I'm going to go ahead and click Penelope's just to show you guys how easy this is. We're going to let it live for a little bit, and it's that simple. You can use any photos you want. For artists, I recommend you use your own graphics. That shows your personality and your creativity a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. We're going to replace this background, and I'm going to go to Files, and I'm going to click this file that I already have, and here we are. We can also adjust it by rotating it if you need to. We can also scale it, as well as flipping it. You can also go into the looks and choose any different filter that you would like. I'm just going to keep it how it originally looked. There are some enhanced features just for minor adjustments. And you're done. I hope this helped you guys, and if you guys need any more assistance, you can contact me via LinkedIn and I can help you one-on-one. This is a really great tool for marketing yourself and standing out in the crowd. Thank you for watching.
That's some good stuff. That is solid. That is solid. You should be proud of that. And I'm assuming that's on your LinkedIn profile, Binta.
Not yet. It'll be on after this meeting though. I hope you guys liked past me and she helped you out a little bit. If you need more help, you guys feel free to contact me. All right. So don't forget that there is, you can go on Discord and you can submit your challenge there. And then we'll choose 3 people, 3 nominees for Rob to mentor and have a one-on-one session with. It's about a 30-minute session, and it should be great. It's a really great opportunity. Even if you're a little bit nervous, if you haven't used it before, don't be shy. We're all new to something, some way, somehow. So it'll be great. Awesome. Okay. So we're going to start with the session now. I do have a question for Rob. So a lot of people struggle to harness LinkedIn. What is your best advice?
Yeah, I get this question all the time. Like, listen, it's hard to grasp the reality that LinkedIn's just not as sexy as some other platforms, right? And when people are sort of in that mindset of what did so and so have for lunch, or where they celebrate their baby moon, or all this sort of stuff, then they're kind of like, I think you're getting it. But once you get into the mindset of well, where are people talking about jobs and their careers and moving forward? And, frankly, the big discussion about the career reset and skills, which we're going to talk about, of course, that's all happening on LinkedIn. So while it may seem boring, it's ripe with a lot of opportunity, particularly for the sort of next great entrepreneurial creative generation of thinkers and doers. So this is the place to be. By the way, I debate my son, Shane, who's an amazing talented creator, about the virtues of LinkedIn. But the reality is, what people are missing out on is there's so much opportunity just to crush it.
Yeah, I agree. I think when I first started LinkedIn, I was nervous and intimidated. I spent an entire summer working on my profile, but now it's probably the second app I open when I wake up. You have so many opportunities. You can meet so many people and network. It's really great. Okay. I have another question. What's new with LinkedIn for career starters?
Yeah, so career stars, that's anybody starting a career, and that's just not just college students. That's a lot of people, right? A lot of people are restarting their career. I've been in sales for a long time. I'm thinking about restarting my career. I just don't know what to do next. So one thing that's happening is the feed. The feed's really alive with a lot of new sort of content and information. People are surprised, but there's billions of content interactions on LinkedIn in a given week, billions, coupled with sort of the freshest and newest sort of initiative that we have going on, which is the Creators Initiative. This is something where our editorial team, which is I think almost 100 people around the world, and these are professional high-end journalists run by this guy, Dan Roth, who we hired at LinkedIn a long time ago. Long story short is the feed's alive with all kinds of interesting content, certainly things that are extremely relevant to the work world and life for that matter. So I think that's the biggest sort of thing that's happening is the feed. It's really engaging, and there's a lot of really amazing content. One thing in particular is videos. You're going to see a lot more of that percolating in the feed.
Yeah, I've seen quite a bit so far, but it's great. All right. So now we're going to move on to Rob's presentation. Rob, are you ready to show us and let us know a little bit more about LinkedIn?
Yeah, let's do it. Right on.
Great.
So listen, I'll give you guys a tour of my sort of top things you need to be doing on LinkedIn. And I also see there's a bunch of people in the feed that are like, hey, use my profile. I will definitely do that. And I'll look for the Adobe Creative Cloud team to sort of queue that up. So that'll be totally fun. Maybe you're there and, you got your college students out at some frat party or doing some sorority date or whatever. If you're a parent, maybe you just tune in and put their profile in there or yours. So I'm looking forward. That's going to be fun. I also see Jim Thorpe from Ithaca representing Ithaca, New York. So good, man. I went to school up there, not at Cornell, the other school, Ithaca College, the better school. Anyway, so the feed. I talked about the feed a little bit, and I want to just sort of start with talking about the profile and its importance. And I won't go through sort of the depths of my profile, but one thing I wanted to share for you all is that, listen, the profile is sort of this, it's sort of this starting point of all the things that happen on LinkedIn. A long time ago, we created a bunch of algorithms and features very early on, like jobs you may be interested. Of course, has a nice acronym, JIMBY, and other things like people you may know. All these little things work in sort of synchronicity with your profile. So my message out of the gates is like, complete the profile. And sometimes it feels a little arduous, but it's not. If you're new and you don't have a profile, you can actually go through a step-by-step process on how exactly to create the profile. So the profile is sort of the table stakes. And a lot of people ask, well, how does LinkedIn how does it actually work? And I won't give you a bunch of technical stuff. What I'll say is basically it's like Netflix. So you're watching whatever, you're watching Breaking Bad, maybe you're watching Narcos, maybe you're watching Stranger Things, and then you get recommended things. If you share your Netflix subscription, you don't know what kind of recommendations you're going to get, obviously. LinkedIn works the same way. Everything you put into the feed, all your interactions are being sort of connected to things that are going to be most relevant to you and recommended to you. So if you go and you start following a certain number of companies, it's going to say, hey, here's some other companies that may be equally as interesting to you. And the easiest way to experience that is really just to get into the feed itself. And you'll start to see, even in my feed, as I kind of scroll through, a lot of different things sort of being sort of sent up to me. And the other place you'll see this is when you actually go into look for jobs, which I've got a lot of different tips and tactics here. But let's say you're looking at a job. I see a strategic partnerships job at the NBA. What I'm going to be able to do here is a few things. One, follow the company. Right now, I'm already following. I don't want to unfollow, but go follow a bunch of companies. Don't worry about the job per se. Follow the company. The same goes for things like jobs themselves, or even content or people. A lot of people are like, oh, I want to go follow Oprah on LinkedIn or Richard Branson or all these famous people. That's great. What you really need to focus your energy on is following people that, have the jobs that you're interested in. And the easiest way to do that is sort of as you're going through the feed. And this is sort of a homework assignment for you folks sort of new to LinkedIn. Go follow 10, 15 companies that are interesting to you. Follow 10 or 15 people that are interesting to you. Go ahead and follow me. That's going to be interesting. I can promise you that. And what you'll find in a very short amount of time is all of a sudden things are coming to you in your feed that are extremely, extremely relevant. Some people have noticed, I've got it pinged a couple of times here, I'm in dark mode. So we do have a dark mode. I prefer it. I like it. I think it's fun. I think it's cool. And you can go into your account settings and actually manage your display and all kinds of other features, including, most importantly, your privacy features. One of the things that I always like to underscore is LinkedIn is the most trusted network in the world. It's just a private environment. As a salesperson, it's kind of a pain in the ass because we can't read email people and so on. We've got to really be careful about that. So, but it's great because what it means is LinkedIn's protecting you and all of your information, and that's important when you're sort of out there looking for a job. So a lot of people ask, hey, what's the deal with LinkedIn? Like, what's your sort of quick hit on it? And let me just say this: I've been at LinkedIn for almost 12 years now. I love LinkedIn. I'm on there every day, right? It's a dream job for me to be here. But the coolest thing is sort of what we're doing in sort of this world of skills. Now, of course, every year, if you don't know this, we do a bunch of analysis and we look at, well, what are the skills that are getting people hired, right? And the soft skills are universally involving creativity and collaboration. And I would contend that this year in particular, and go into 2022, it's the year for creativity. And what that means is people that can come at problems creatively, but it also means people that can create. And sometimes people don't look at both of those things. So we do this study and we identify the top skills that get people hired based on millions of interactions and people getting a job on LinkedIn. Of course, we have some 750 plus million people, 2-3 members joining per second, and that's a significant amount of things happening. So I mentioned the skills because, back in the day when I first started with LinkedIn, I was looking at like the trend, and I'm like, having been a recruiter for a long time, like everyone that's getting a job here has like these pedigrees, or they went to Berkeley, they went to Stanford, like, I went to Ithaca College, like, could I even work here? That type of thing. But fast forward to today, I could tell you that LinkedIn's worked extremely hard on sort of focusing people's energies on looking at skills. Our CEO, Ryan Rolansky himself, in a post right here says, listen, for a long time, we've looked at degrees as a proxy for your experience or capability. Well, that's changing extremely rapidly. And nothing has underscored that more than the pandemic. So there's a lot of people, my message is a lot of people looking for your skills, both the soft skills and the technical skills, much less than they're looking for the degree. And this is changing, not overnight, but it's definitely changing. If you get on LinkedIn, you're going to start to see really awesome content up here in the right-hand rail in this little box here. LinkedIn News. I want to strongly suggest right now you follow LinkedIn News. Really, really great sort of way to get professional news in the feed. My son JD up there in New York City, he contends that he reads that every day, reads sort of the LinkedIn News, and I believe him. LinkedIn News. It's really just a great curation of things that are most important as you're kind of getting your work day started. So check that out. You'll notice the big topic right now is the great career reshuffle, or as people say, the great exodus, or whatever it may be. Call it whatever you want. Just remember that LinkedIn is basically two things for you right now in this environment. It is a safety net and it's a lottery ticket. I want to take you back just really briefly to 2008. I was looking for an opportunity, and out of the blue, I get a call. I'm literally on the metro. I'm on the T in Boston, specifically going from Medford. I don't know if I pronounced that right, down to all the way down to downtown. And so this ride was involving, my twin brother, who's telling me about those job offers. Long story short is, LinkedIn could be a lottery ticket. You never know. If you have your stuff on there and your profile, you're meeting all those sort of elements, you'd be surprised the number of people that reach out. So I got reached out by this guy, Ron Agazi. He started a company, actually invented a couple of video games, Rock Band, Guitar Hero. And he says, Rob, I noticed you're doing this recruiting for game engineers and artists. I'm like, yeah, I am. And I ended up working for him for 9 months. So out of the blue, I got my lottery ticket cash. And that's a super important aspect of LinkedIn. Think about it that way. The second way to think about it is sort of a more of a safety net, where you want to stay connected to people. Maybe you're just graduating with them. You're completing a boot camp in digital marketing. You're finishing off these Adobe courses, and you're validating your skill set on LinkedIn with Photoshop or Spark and that type of thing. So that's sort of the quick hit, my opinion on what's happening with LinkedIn right now, the things that you should be considering. I know we probably have some questions over there, Binta, so feel free to jump in or pop those into the chat, please. Cool. So I'm going to actually go ahead and I'm going to explain LinkedIn from the perspective of some profiles, some people that have volunteered, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab some people that have volunteered. I just want to remind you that you volunteered, so I'm just going to give it to you straight. And that's just the way I do it. So Binta, we've talked before. I love your profile. I want to pick it
Thanks.
apart a little bit and simultaneously sort of highlight the things you're doing well. Okay,
Yeah.
so building a profile is super important. First thing that's most important is, I wouldn't say most important, but visually most important is your profile picture. So people will click on that and beam it up. Binta, I know you're probably rolling your eyes, but
It's
listen, it's
okay.
important. It's important. You got to have it, right? And by the way, I love your demo. I literally want to go and like
Thanks.
open up Spark. I want to open up the tools and try to do
Thank
this stuff, which
you.
which is a leap for me. I mean,
Yeah,
you've
I'm
gone through
glad it's helpful, especially for you. That's high praise.
it. Yeah. So listen, your profile looks great. You've got the elements that are most important right out of the gates. You've got your headline. It's a titch long. I'm not a huge fan of it being that long, and the reason is this: 82%, maybe 85%. Plus of people looking at your profile are doing so on this device over here, this mobile
Right.
device. So you want to make sure that it's not too long. That's a little bit nitpicky, but
Mhm.
cover image looks great, photo looks great. I love that you have sort of your creator mode on. You talk about Adobe. You talk about marketing. You got East Carolina. You're repping ECU. And I heard they have a lot of fun there, in addition to having a good education,
Yes.
which is wonderful. Stay away from Cameron Cass. He's
Okay.
a
Got
guy
it.
I know over there.
Noted.
So here's a couple things here in your summary, and I've read this. I love it. I love it because you
Thank
didn't come
you.
out of the gates like a lot of students and say, "I'm currently a student at insert school, looking for an opportunity." Like, listen, if you're a recruiter, and there's over 250,000 recruiters, probably right now around the world, looking at your profile either in LinkedIn Recruiter, our recruiter product, or just a hiring manager. So the reason I bring that up is just think about it. People are scrolling through lists and lists of members looking for someone that has something unique. And if everyone just says I'm a student at, well, it's going to be kind of boring. Love that you differentiated out of the gates with that. And you even say, listen, I'm down to message, I'm down to connect up with you, whatever. I'm going to say this, like, you have some killer experience. You got the Adobe Student Advanced Ambassador stuff, but none of it's really coming alive for me. What do you think's missing here?
I don't know. Why don't we ask the audience? What do they
Ask
think?
ask the audience, and like it has something to do with all this right here. Like, see, when
Mhm.
I click this, I'm going to get this image carousel, right?
Mhm.
And that's wonderful. But I can also get that same carousel effect on my profile. So I could go over to, for example, I'll just hit my profile.
Mhm.
I could go ahead to any job I have here. And as you'll see
Right.
below, I can scroll down and just start plugging in some media. That way, Binta, now someone comes to your pro, just like mine.
Mhm.
They come over here, and what they're going to see is some more graphic elements there, imagery
Wow.
there on your profile. So you
Yeah,
can
it is a
get
little
that
bit
down here.
wordy. I can see what you mean.
And it's not even about the words, it's about the visual elements. When I'm scrolling on a phone in
Mhm.
particular, I'm recruiting, I need to hire a recent or, someone that, recent grad, or forget that. I just need someone that knows these Adobe products. Like, the reality is that's most important to me when I put on the recruiter hat. But having some imagery under here could be key. A lot of folks, a couple people in the feed were like, hey, well, what if I don't have a lot of experience or don't have any
Mhm.
images because it's been a pandemic?
Yeah.
Well, create something. Or get someone to help you, or just take a photo of yourself working at home, or whatever the case may be. So I would suggest you amp it up. You did it down here underneath this job, by the way. So I would just add it up top.
Perfect.
Obviously, you got your school. One thing that a lot of folks don't know, I noticed you went to Enloe. Enloe's, and
I
for
did.
those who don't know, I lived in Raleigh, North Carolina for 20 years. Enloe is the best school in North Carolina. It's literally the smartest people go there. So, and the most creative people. So it's an amazing place to go. But a lot of people don't know, not only has LinkedIn indexed every university in the world, we've indexed every high school in the country. So actually, you go to Enloe High School's webpage or company page, school page, sorry, on LinkedIn, and I actually see all the alumni. And this becomes very useful. In fact, I would contend that the alumni tool, which is on every school page, every high school page, every university page, every employer company page, it's the biggest secret on LinkedIn.
I second that.
Alumni tool.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So have you used it? Have you used it?
Yes, it's great. I use it for if I'm interested in a company or a job, I'll look up the alumni who either went to Enloe or ECU, and I'll connect with them, message them, ask them a little bit about how they got to where they are. Us being from ECU and from Enloe connects us a little bit. So I think it's really helpful.
Yep. Right on. So really good stuff there. I guess overall, your profile is super solid. I'm stoked to kind of go over it. And I think you just kind of got to add some more imagery, and I think you'll be flowing very well.
Thank you. That was very helpful. I'll be right on that after this. We also have Frida Campos. I know she's waiting in the waiting room. Oh, that was quick.
Oh, you're here, Frida.
How are you?
Hello, good, and you guys?
I'm great.
Doing awesome. Hey, Frida.
Hello.
Your
Are you
banner's
ready
so
for this?
cute.
Oh, thank you. Yes, as ready as I'll ever be.
Cool. So let's do this. Let me hear from you. Like, I want to hear from you really quickly. Like, give me your sort of like quick hit. What are you up to, and what's your sort of, you know, your sort of what you ultimately want to accomplish career wise? What's your game plan?
So I'm currently in my last year. I'm studying design with a minor in interactive marketing, and I'm just hoping to get a job where I can combine the two and be creative and have fun.
All right. I love that. I think that right out of the gates, and I'm going to pick on you a little bit, but it's going to be completely constructive and honest. And whoever gets a little session with me, it's going to be the same way. Out of the gates, the aesthetic is solid. I love the cover photo. I like to think of it as like an album cover. Like, it looks super solid, great image. You're smiling, awesome. Going to a great school. You've got in here, I'm a designer currently studying at, I just picked on this, so I have to mention it. Like, I think that's fine, but I know you know a bunch of people at Cal State Northridge, some of your friends probably, that can write. And I know you could write, but maybe you get a couple of these folks together, get a little pizza, right? And say, listen, I want to do my about section a little bit differently, because I sense that you have a lot to bring to the table and is not really in the about section right now. The other thing that's definitely missing in here is going to be a carousel with some imagery. And the way to do this is to get into your profile, use that little pencil that I showed, and get in there and add images. And they can be whatever. I'm suspecting, and tell me if I'm wrong here, that you must have a website or examples of stuff you've done on the design end, correct?
Yes, I have my portfolio.
Okay, so you have a link to it somewhere here, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So here's my suggestion. It's great that you have a link to your portfolio, and everyone should have a link to whatever their personal blog, portfolio, whatever. I think the mistake a lot of people doing design in particular make is just get some of that stuff that's on your portfolio, like the badass stuff, which I'm sure it's great, and get it into your LinkedIn profile. Not a lot of people are also doing the type of degree program you're doing. I mean, it's pretty interesting. You've got the design aspect, you got the interactive marketing. That even sounds pretty cool, right? So I would love to see you as a challenge sort of explain interactive marketing in some visual way, maybe create a video. I know I'm asking you to do a lot, but minimally, let's get some of the stuff you've worked on, your best stuff, into this feed so that some recruiter is looking through, or hiring manager, they're sitting around looking at 100,000 profiles, and they get to your profile and they see this amazing imagery and they connect with it and they stop. Instead of spending 6 seconds looking at your LinkedIn profile, they're on there scrolling through, going to your portfolio and such. Does that make sense?
No, yeah, that sounds good. Thank you.
Of course. So that's how I would approach that. Everything else looks great. You can add images here to the profile piece. The other thing I always test on, by the way, is activity. One of the biggest misses is not posting on LinkedIn. And listen, you could do a lot of things. You could post a long form blog. You can do a lot of different things. But all you need to do is simple things like, hey, I was on this call with this crazy guy, Rob Humphrey, and Binta with ECU, mention Adobe, and it was really cool. Just by doing that right now, you're going to get a bunch of people that are on this feed, a couple hundred people, plus the people that are going to watch it later are going to be like, whoa, there we go. Like, I want to go check that out. And you're going to have some people following your profile. And that's what you want. You don't need a lot of people connecting and trying to, be connected to you per se. You need people to be following you. That way, you're going to see the benefit of this lottery ticket aspect I mentioned. One day you'll be sitting there, or you won't be sitting there, I don't think, but you'll be doing something awesome. And someone will message you on LinkedIn and say, hey, have you ever thought about working over at Acme? And you'll be like, no, tell me more. So that's what I'm getting at with the feed. So get out there and do some posting. Now, I see that in your activity, and I can look at any member. Anyone can look at any member's activity unless they have their settings differently. And I could see, well, what are you interacting with? What are you posting? That type of thing. And get a sense for, I love this, by the way. We do need to stop glamorizing to overworking, like for real. So I can kind of get a sense for what you're sharing. Like, that's pretty cool. Like, I love this. So it's great. It's great that you're posting. I think the frequency should be amped up a little bit. And that Freed is my analysis of your profile. What questions do you have?
I'm pretty new to LinkedIn, and so I really want to take this opportunity to see what I can do to make it better. And I had no idea that you could add like a features page. And so when you were going over Binta's and like letting her know that she can add like images and stuff, I really like took that down as notes, and I'm gonna remember to add it. I just wanted to come and learn as much as I could, and so I appreciate your time.
I appreciate you are awesome, and your profile looks great. The other thing I'm going to mention here is before we move on and talk more profiles is the skills piece. We're going to talk about a little bit more possibly, but I love that you have these skills in here. There is an ability for the vast majority of skills and all the Adobe skills for you to go ahead and verify your expertise level. Not a long experience, but it actually is something that's important because recruiters have the ability to filter by skills. And guess what? If you have a bunch of people, especially people without a lot of experience, i.e. students or learners, right? The only way to differentiate is the skills. And having hired designers and marketing experts, I know that, it's a vast difference between someone that really can make an infographic versus someone that can't, or someone that can write copy and someone that can't, video editor and someone that's not as good as what maybe you want. So great for you to have those, keep putting those skills in there, consider trying to verify them. And I think you'll be very pleased.
Sounds good. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Frida. Your profile looked great. Mine did not look like that when I first started.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, up next, we have Claire Hambrick. Great. Hi, Claire.
Hey, Binta. Thanks so much for having me today.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good.
Claire, hey, how's it going? So, Claire, I got to ask you, what's your biggest question about LinkedIn and your LinkedIn profile?
Oh, that's a tough one. I am also pretty new to it. I guess my biggest question is just, what are the first and maybe most important steps I need to take to really upping my profile and my experience on LinkedIn? Thank you.
All right, let's talk it over. Got your profile here, and thank you for letting me open it up and show the world live on LinkedIn. That's it's pretty gutsy, but I love it. So first off, we got a whole North Carolina thing going on here, which I love. I think I mentioned I live in Raleigh, so you're up in the Charlotte. Love it. Very, very cool. So same thing I mentioned earlier. I'm a third-year student at North Carolina at Charlotte. I think it's wonderful. Don't get me wrong. I think it's amazing. But I think the first sentence is bad or not optimal. It needs to be optimized. You have so much. I've read some of the things in your profile already. You have so much to bring to the table here. Communications and just sort of stuff you're aspiring to do. You won a bunch of awards. I get that. I think right out of the gates, you just need to change a couple sentences up front. I'm going to be honest about it. People in the feed, feel free to chime in. There's all kinds of people I know, especially marketers that may disagree with me. Don't care. Like, I think you need to evolve from that first line, and it is important. I love your profile photo. Like, you look like the happiest person. You're smiling. Like, I want to work with you. Like, so it sounds awesome. And that was my reaction. I mentioned earlier, I did some recruiting in my time, over a decade of it, and I've seen a lot of LinkedIn profiles and resumes. So looks good so far. One thing I want to mention here is, so you and we're just connecting now, right? I don't know you, but I'm not going to send you a connection request. Now, we might connect, whatever. What I am absolutely going to do, and I would ask everyone to do the same thing, is go ahead and follow Clear. Just follow her. That way, when we say, hey, Clear, here's the things you should do to your profile to change it, we're going to get updated because we're following Clear. We'll just get updated. Same thing with every company, every job, every person that you might, sort of ambiently connect with. You can just follow them. And I want to make sure that everyone understands that it's a super important and powerful feature. So you've got that down. I'm going to say the same thing. Media, got to get it in there for sure, particularly when you're doing anything that is related to, sort of that world. So your activity, I want to pick on this quickly. You're new to LinkedIn. So this is like, you're not going to you're not going to be, crushing this, but we're going super meta here because I'm actually looking at something you commented on that we're actually doing. So kind of weird. But my point here is, I think the key thing here is going to be for you to get your first LinkedIn post going. And I want to challenge you to do it in the next 24 hours, maybe even do it while we're talking. Get out there and, express your aspirations, your interests, ideas you have, or pick a topic and sort of stick with that. For me, I like to talk about how students can transition from school, any kind of school, but in particular colleges, to a career, or just how you can transition to a new career. So I try to stick with that. That's something that's really important, Claire, to do. And I know you have a lot of depth and writing ability. I love that you have jobs like the Milk Lab here, by the way. I have a friend of mine that worked at Taco Bell for a while, and this person happens to be this phenomenal video editor. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. And he said to me, Taco Bell is one of the most recognized brands in the world. Of course, I'm going to put it on there. So I think it's great that you have all of your experience on here. You're also an Enlo grad, which I was talking about earlier. That's pretty cool. You managed the yearbook, which must have been a lot of power for you, in addition to very creative. Here's the key thing here, the skills. I think you got plenty of room to put up plenty of skills. And we all know you have more skills than what's on here. So I'm going to challenge you to get in there and do that. I'm also going to challenge you to get in there, whatever you're best at, Photoshop or Lightroom. I want you to get in there and take the test and verify that skill. It's very important. It's really going to set you apart. So I'd work on that. You have a lot of talk about journalism, photojournalism, about photo shoots. There's a lot of folks on LinkedIn that I know that are photographers, and they really harness LinkedIn to get work. And I want to bring that up because you can learn this from a guy by the name of Justin Wen. He has a podcast called Declassified College. Guy's phenomenal coach for young people, and he is a young person. He tells me, and he's right, LinkedIn's, you got to think about it as not your profile per se, but as a landing page. It's a landing page for you, Claire. And if you want to go do some photo shoots on the side while you're going through school, in addition to your other Adobe ambassadorship, LinkedIn could be a landing page for people to come and sort of be like, hey, yeah, I want to connect with this person and maybe get some business. So don't just think of LinkedIn as the feed or your profile or jobs. Think of it as this marketing landing page where you can get a lot of leads, right? Does that make sense, Claire?
Yes, it does. Thank you. I will definitely get on that and verifying the skills, and especially just adding the more content, because you're right, there is a lot of content that could probably be shared very easily, and now I will. So
yeah, for sure. And a lot of times you have stuff you've already written or produced or whatever, or you've been a part of. Just grab that, pop it on there. Super, super key thing to do. So I'm following you. I'll probably connect with you as well. Would love to spend more time with you, and we can't wait to see some of your updates.
Thank you so much.
Claire. It was great. All right. Up next, we have Miguel. And after that, we'll open it up to anyone in the comments who would like their profile viewed. Hi, Miguel. How are you?
Hi, Beans. How you doing?
I'm good. Are you excited to get your profile reviewed?
I'm very excited. I've
Great.
needed this for a while.
While we're doing that, Miguel, give me the sort of quick hit. Give me your elevator pitch. What are you up to? What are you bringing to the table?
So I do visual merchandising at Nike on a retail level. I'm
Mhm.
also an intern at Staple Pigeon. That's a streetwear brand located in New York City. I also intern somewhere else, but I'm into sneakers. I want to be a color and material designer, so just trying to network more on LinkedIn and trying to get people to know me. So I've been on it for a while now, but I've been using LinkedIn now more than ever. So
All right, is this you right here? Yeah,
yes.
that's you. Okay, cool. So let's make sure first off, we still got about 150 people online here and so on. So let's all just go ahead and either we could pop that link in the chat. Let's all go to Miguel's profile and give him a follow. I think that'll be a good start. Get a few people following you to see what you're up to, and also to keep you on track here in terms of the things we're going to ask you to do. I love the cover photo. It like I want to ask you about that. Like, what's up? Why did you select that? And it's really cool. Did you make
So
it?
I got that cover photo back in 2017. Somebody took a headshot of me, and since then I've been using it on my LinkedIn profile.
All right, looks nice. Love it. Tell me about the cover image back here. Is this something you created? Something you're just popping in there? What's the
Also,
strategy
that's a
there?
logo that I have from Instagram, from Sneaker Designs. That's what I go
Nice.
by. Thank you.
That is super tight. Anybody here wants someone that's to work with someone that's passionate about sneaker design? I think we got Miguel right here. We're going to go through your profile, but reach out to this guy. My opinion on that, not trying to ingratiate you, is like anyone that's doing this, I don't know, wherever you are, it could be 8:00, 5:00. You're in New York City, so it's 8:30, almost 9:00. Like anyone volunteering to do this stuff is serious about their career. So cool. 22-year-old sneaker enthusiast. I love it. Like, boom. Captivating stories through footwear. And the first thing I see is stories about footwear. I'm so psyched. This is exactly what I wanted to see. I don't want to see your resume. I don't care about any of that crap. I want to see what you've done. And so what I'm going to do is, first thing I'm going to do as a potential hiring manager or whatever, I'm just going to open up your feed and see what you're all about, what you're doing. And I'm definitely going to give that a little bit of a like. So sweet. Again, if you want a guy that's serious about this stuff, connect with Miguel. So that looks great, and the whole story behind it. Your about section is nice. We definitely want to get some more media flowing in this featured section, but this is really solid. There's your resume. I knew I'd find it. Listen, I'm not anti-resume. I just think this real estate is some serious stuff. If this is a marketing landing page, no one wants to see that text. They just want to see this stuff. Over the last 6 months in quarantine, I finally completed, I'm definitely going to click on that. Why? Because it's a smart headline. And I know you probably didn't even do it that way, but LinkedIn is taking the first X amount of characters. Also, you have a lot of activity here. I'm getting kind of excited here. You've got a lot of activity. You've got a lot of posts, I'm hoping. Yes, you do. You're definitely posting your own original stuff. It was to my point earlier is you don't even need to post stuff that's yours. You can just take other people's stuff that's interesting and give your analysis on it. And let me stop and tell a quick story. I think it's important. If you're basically looking to differentiate yourself as someone that's sort of starting their career, the best way to do it is just prove it either visually or by some way of communicating it. And here's the story I'm going to tell you. Years ago, I did a talk at NC State, North Carolina State University in Raleigh, and there's about 500 people in the audience. And there is a bunch of people in marketing in that audience. And one woman came up to me and said, listen, I got to go to an interview for a job. It's a social media management type job at a big tech company in Raleigh. I'm going to be literally in line with like 50 other people. Long story short is I said, listen, create whatever you do. Create an infographic. Create the sneaker graphic. Whatever you're an expert at skill-wise, bring that to the table. Show that off. And then go to the interview, because these people are absolutely looking at your LinkedIn profile. 100%. I guarantee it. So this woman goes to interview. She makes an infographic for this particular company and says, this is an infographic of the 5 things that you're doing well and the 5 things you could do better with your marketing. And basically, long story short, she got a job. She beat 50 people out because she's the only person that brought something that was exactly what they wanted to see. She demonstrated the skill. She created an awesome piece of content. She created a visually appealing story, just like you're doing with your cover photo, by the way. So I'm going to go down here and staple pigeon. Not sure what that is. But I don't like, the only thing I don't like about this is you've got a bunch of sentences in order, almost like you want to put bullet points in there. I just talked about, like, my reaction to you is like, you know how to tell stories. You told your story. And so in here, tell the same story. And if is this like what kind of company is this?
Oh, it's a clothing company.
Okay, cool. So I check out to see if these guys have a company page and make sure if they do with a logo, you want that to pop up in the feed. They might not though, because they might not have one. So I mentioned that because you see over here in the Nike part, which obviously is a huge brand, you've clearly got the whole logo there. Just very nitpicky there, Miguel. Vans, you sold it. Vans, you were enjoying that employee discount, man. I get it. Totally get that. I love it. Perfect. You've got all your stuff in here packed in. Love it. You got your degree and you've got this Fashion Institute sneaker essentials. And you did what I always ask people to do: plug in the media. Either it's a picture of your school, whatever, or it's the stuff like Miguel has here. And then you've got your high school, which if you're not old like me, put your high school in there. We standardize it. You can look at people. You can see what they're doing. It's a much different experience than, say, Facebook, to see what's up with people. This is like, what are they doing career-wise, right? Think about it that way. Skills and endorsements, great. I want to just take a peek at this a little bit more in depth. You got to bolster up the skills section, do some verification on that. By the way, if you don't look at your profile now, anyone watching, if you don't have data presentation in your profile, it's one of the top skills that's getting people hired. Data presentation, put it in there even if you don't have it, and then go learn it. Take a free course on LinkedIn Learning, go to edX, wherever, get that skill. All that is taking data and trying to tell a story with it. Think about it like making a PowerPoint. Get that on your profile. So my only thing I'd say here, Miguel, is like maybe some more visual elements, and amping up the skills and the validation of the skills. Otherwise, man, rock solid, like super solid. Let me know how I can help you.
Yeah, Miguel, this is awesome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I feel like it really shows your brand and your personality straight from the point who you are, what you do, what you love. I really like it.
Thank you so much. I tried.
You did great.
Awesome, man.
All right. So we are now going to move on to the Q&A section. Feel free to comment any of your questions. I am going to start off with Stuart's question. They asked, would you recommend changing your location to where you intend to work after graduation?
Yeah, so you can, 2 things. One, yeah, you could do that. But I would just leave it where you are now. Why do I say that? Because you can manage your preferences in the career section. So you actually can have multiple locations that you're open to. The fastest way to sort of experience this is actually just sort of interacting with the jobs feed, like going into the jobs and setting up your career interests. So basically, in a nutshell, it doesn't really matter. You could set up the places you're willing to work. We fixed that a while back. So you'll be all set to put in where you are currently.
That's great. They also asked in the chat, is it better to have a lot of skills listed or a few that are verified?
I would get all the skills I actually have, and then I would verify with, and when I say verify, I mean there are a variety of skills where you can basically go in and be like, take a test and it's going to prove you have the skills, going to validate your skills, like a tech test, but it's for a variety of skills. So I would say get as many as you actually have in there, step 1, and then get the verification on the others. The rest of the stuff will naturally, in the feed, people will go ahead and endorse you for the skills, which is also another, not as powerful, but also as useful.
Great. We do have one. What should companies do for their profiles? I feel like this is helpful on the other side too.
Super helpful. Yeah. So The company page is something that literally, if you have a legitimate, use for it, you should use it. One of the biggest use cases could be, for example, it could be like you're a freelancer. If you're a
Mhm.
freelance video editor, right now, if you're doing anything with communications, video, you're creating any kind of content, images, design, photography, any of that stuff, you literally could create your own page as a freelancer and say, listen, this is what I do. You won't be surprised. LinkedIn is very business oriented, and you can
Mhm.
generate a lot of leads as a freelancer. But company pages, yeah, I mean, think like basically company pages are basically your billboard as a company. And when you've got billions of engagement interactions on LinkedIn, it's a great place to have that outpost. I don't know if there's a specific question about that, but it's
Mhm.
super useful.
Yeah. I did have one about the visuals that we were mentioning earlier. I worked for a company where we can't take photos due to information. So, what is a better way to add some visuals for experience?
Should leave that company immediately. But no, a lot of people are in scenarios where they can't do a lot of the photo sharing or whatever it may be, like the finance industry, for example. Not a lot of people, want to, kind of get into trouble. But you can do this, I think, like a lot of different ways. I think, still having a profile is obviously important. And, not having as many images is really sort of a decision that you're going to need to make on a personal level.
Great answer. Another question is, what best profile for career changes? I'm guessing this is asking how to alter your page based on the change in your career.
That's coming from Doug, I guess.
Mhm.
So if you're changing your career altogether, like like I'm in sales and I want to go into like product,
Mhm.
well, I need to find something that's going to link me to that, right? Like, and that's likely going to be a skill, an experience, or something along those lines. But I think that once you start sort of, realizing that basically it's a way to highlight skills, it's a way to create this sort of, safety net or lottery ticket of sorts. Don't be afraid to get in there and be like, listen, I'm an aspiring product leader, or listen, let me tell you what I want to do. I want to be a professional or a semi-professional snowboarder full time. I
Cool.
don't even need to be
You
professional.
should.
And it's even in my profile somewhere. Like that is my aspiration. Like if I could find something doing that all the time, I would do it. So I guess what I'm saying is, if you're going to switch, just find some way to pivot and start making your profile the vehicle that says, listen, I'm open to this new realm and I want to learn how to get into it. I think that's the way I'd approach it.
Good. There's one from Elizabeth. What do you think is the most important part of a LinkedIn profile in terms of getting noticed for future roles?
Yeah. So normally I'd say the picture, but I'm not going to say that because it's not that critical in the actual hiring decision. In fact, a lot of recruiters are not even bothering looking at that. They're really focused on stuff that's down the profile, so to speak. So I think getting really focused on sort of having just a full profile is sort of my comment. Like have a fully filled out profile so that it's completed. I mean, that's like the step one.
Yeah. I have another one from Alessandra. What would you advise on people who have two different degrees? Do I put content for both careers?
Well, 2 degrees doesn't always equate to 2 careers, but in this case, because it does, I would say yes, that's exactly what you should do. You have basically, I mean, that same profile, but basically just delineate what you're up to. So I've seen it actually a lot of times. In fact, a lot of people that work at LinkedIn, I'm always curious when I'm working with someone, particularly if they're a product person or a product marketer. I'm always fascinated by the skill sets. And you'll see like, hey, someone went to Berklee School of Music and was, first clarinet, and they're a product manager or whatever. So think about it that way. It's sort of like you could easily sort of, expand on both. I've been a recruiter and in sales, kind of the same thing. Some people would say, but now I'm venturing into like, having a podcast and doing live streams and stuff, which is totally new and scary. So I would use the platform as a way to venture out and get help from the people from the community and the various communities that are out there. There's an awesome creator community on LinkedIn, and a couple people to follow, including this guy Xander and some other people I could put in the comments. Gabriel Lomeli comes to mind. There's some people doing some cool things exactly around that aspect.
Great. I did see one about LinkedIn Premium. They asked if it was worth paying for.
You should absolutely listen. I got a lot of bills, so everyone should sign up for premium right away. That extra $30 a month coming to LinkedIn is going to be critical. Listen, here's my suggestion on this. As soon as you can harness LinkedIn, you can crush LinkedIn for free. A premium subscription can be extremely valuable depending on your game plan. But I wouldn't invest in a premium subscription until I have used all of the pieces of the puzzle that exist out of the gates. Meaning you got a full profile, you've got some jobs saved, you're following some companies, you've used that alumni tool, you've posted a status update. Once you've done those things and you need to start really amping up your job search or whatever it may be, you need more in-mail, you need more visibility, then it becomes extremely valuable. Start by getting everything knocked out first.
These are great questions that everyone's, and great answers by Rob. I have one. Does it matter what day or time you post? I'm guessing because on Instagram, engagement is really important. So is that the same for LinkedIn?
Yeah, I'm not sure if Instagram is up right now by way of so many people on this live stream on LinkedIn. But yeah, so like I think the engagement factor is like, photos, I guess. Like, I don't know, like the engagement factor is pretty high. So in terms of time, it's become less, LinkedIn's become less like 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock and more like all the time. Here's my strategy. And I've spent a lot of time on this, right? Thousands of posts over the years. I would pick a time, a cadence that you're comfortable with. In the morning, post once a day, once a week, whatever it may be, right? Make it as consistent as possible. That's what I have found works best. I try to post in the morning or sometimes late in the evening, and that's it, one time, and let that percolate and engage with that post. And that's sort of my philosophy. You'll find that sort of the high times that people are on LinkedIn or the times of most engagement, have a tendency to be in the morning or a little bit later in your day. But I would go for something you're comfortable with. The key is this cadence, keeping it about the same, keeping it consistent, using the same hashtag. If you go in the feed right now, or you go into search on LinkedIn and you put Rob Humphrey and my hashtag do work, you'll just see that's what I use to filter everything I post. You'll just see sort of what I've been up to for the last couple of years. Think about it that way, post consistently.
Good point. I do not post consistently. I think mine is really sporadic. So that's a good answer. All right, and we have one more by Arpin. When adding media in the carousel, is it better to have video or photo content?
Okay, so you definitely want to have a little bit of both, but we can support in there anything. So you can put a link, you can put a video, you can put a photo, whatever. The video is pretty cool, but what I also always suggest, if you're going to put like a link for YouTube, that's great, but it might be even more relevant to have like just a snippet, like a trailer, like you had the tutorial in the beginning, like maybe a snippet of the tutorial to get people to sort of dive into the stuff. I like personally having 2 or 3 photos in the first 3 because that's what people are going to see out of the gates, and then everything else after that. I don't have any statistics on what works better. I will say that there's some people out there doing some really cool stuff with video in particular. I mentioned Gabe Lomeli. We definitely want to give that guy a follow. He does a ton of stuff on video, and there's another person at LinkedIn, Dave Pond, and he just did a video on how to do audio well if you're doing a podcast, or just how to do audio well, which I'm actually experimenting with some of his tips right now using an external microphone. Yeah. So, that's sort of my perspective on that. Video is really, really getting a lot of engagement. And I was talking to a few very creative people about this topic. And I think the biggest opportunity on LinkedIn right now is for people to get out there and sort of like create some short form videos, maybe about your sort of perspective on work and life right now, or something very specific, like using Spark to update your cover photo or profile photo. So I think video is going to be even huger than it is now, and I think I would get behind it.
Great. We are at time, so we're gonna do our
Oh,
closing.
I had no idea. I thought we had. I was ready to.
Thank you,
Awesome.
everyone, for all your comments. You guys can put in your LinkedIn profiles and connect with each other and follow with each other. Take some notes, get some tips from everybody that's in the chat right now. Thank you so much, Rob, for coming on here, doing profile reviews for free. We should probably pay you thousands of dollars for that. Worth good content there. Oh, you're muted.
I'm happy to help out and appreciate
Yeah.
you doing this with me in Adobe Creative Cloud. Just amazing people to work with. Happy to help out anytime.
Thank you. Also, thank you to everyone behind the scenes, Megan, Max, I know Celeste. We really could not have done this without you guys. I just want to remind everyone that there is a Discord challenge. You guys can submit that in. 3 nominees, one-on-one session with Rob. It'll be great. If you have any other questions, let us know on Discord and we can try and answer those for you. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night or evening or day, whatever time zone it is.